Little information about Armstrong pumps. Pump identification can be somewhat difficult due to the fact that all of the parts used in a pump can be used in several different pumps. A lot of times when a pump is changed out, the bearing assembly is removed and thrown away that actually has the model number of the pump on it, and it's replaced with another bearing assembly with a model number of the bearing assembly. That bearing assembly can be used with several different pumps, so it really does not identify what pump you have. To identify the pump, we have to look at all the components: the motor, the bearing assembly, the impeller, and the pump casing or volute. If we can get part numbers off of all of those, we can usually tell what pump you have and identify the parts you may need for it. This pump should not be mounted with a bracket or with any kind of support other than the piping for the pump itself. The reason for that is piping expands and contracts, and sometimes buildings shift, and if you have a bracket under this thin sheet metal bracket on this motor, it can tweak that frame and throw the pump out of alignment. If you have an alignment issue, it will cause mechanical seal failure, bearing failure, or coupler failures. If you have any of those conditions going on, then you probably have an issue with the pump alignment, which is set up from the factory to be standard when you bolt it in place. A common issue we see with this motor that gets overlooked quite often is it has a rubber resilient mount that holds the motor in place. It actually suspends the motor between the two halves of the clamshell mount, and over a period of time that rubber will stretch and shrink. The bottom of it will get thinner, the top of it will get thicker, the motor will sag in that mount, and it will throw the pump out of alignment. It's this ring right here. When it throws the pump out of alignment, you'll see issues with bearing failure, seal failure, and coupling failure. This is an example of the rubber mount failure on a motor like this. As you can see, the rubber at the top is quite a bit thicker than the rubber at the bottom. That throws this pump out of alignment, and it caused this pump to have a bearing failure. This style pump should always be mounted in the horizontal position like you see with this oil cap to the top. This is where it should be oiled on an annual basis. Usually 20 weight non-detergent oil is good enough. A half ounce a year will usually take care of you.